Hello, Pierre. Welcome. We're currently at the Arte Gallery in Belgrade on the occasion of your first solo exhibition in Serbia. So, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Okay. I wanted to ask you a couple of questions which are going to help all of those who have never been introduced to your work before to get a better sense of who you are as an artist and how they can better introduce themselves to your artwork.
With pleasure.
Okay, great. So, how would you advise somebody, an observer, to communicate with your work, to make that first contact? From which distance they should approach them, and what should be their area of focus?
I think the most important thing is to have time and not to rush, and to look at the work and until interaction between the artwork and yourself occurs. So you can go closer, a little bit more far, but let the artwork speak to you.
Okay. Okay, that's a good answer. Thank you. And I wanted to ask you because the name of the exhibition is Post-Concrete.
Yes.
So in the title itself, we showcase that there is a reference toward concrete art, a tradition of art that is made by artists such as Max Biel or Joseph Albers, but which is very strict and geometric, but at the same time very rational and objective, which I think is not the case when we look at this post-concrete art of yours, which, as you said, when a person should approach the art, they should have a very subjective relationship with it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Emotional.
Exactly.
Actually, if you look at the sculptures of Max Biel, it's slightly on the border of concrete art, because they have an expression which occurs an emotional feeling. His paintings a little bit less. My art is called post-concrete art because somehow I like the concrete art, because the roots of concrete art is the Bauhaus movement, afterwards the Swiss concrete. I think Swiss was leading in the concrete art during a long time, but also with very strict rules. And that's why my art is called post-concrete, because I break with the rules of concrete art.
Okay.
I go to the minimalist philosophy of concrete art, but I use different materials, and structures are very important in my work, and this is not the case in concrete art.
Yes, it's...
They have strict rules, very strict rules, strict colors and so. So I want to have soul in the artwork also.
Okay.
And this I was missing I'm missing in the most works of concrete art.
Yes, and when we think of concrete art, we think of an absolute flatness in most cases. But for your artworks, there is something that is very specific in the way that the artworks are created, in the mediums that you use. Can you introduce us with the colors and the structure? How do you come about it?
Because I expect from an artwork that it has vibrations. And vibrations occur when you work in very thin layers and with different materials and very subtle structures. So this makes it very different from the concrete art, actually.
Yes, and your path in life, I think, also influenced the way you think about painting and about structure. Can you tell us more about your previous works experiences that had to deal with textile and your tradition?
Yes, because textile has structures, colors, material. So these three elements, I use them to make paintings. And in textile, somehow it was a good school for apprehension of balance, of many things, but it was commercially oriented. That's why I left textile and concentrated on my art, because I'm not working with a lucrative goal. Art is art for me. This is the most important, and I want to have a message in my work.
Okay, and can you tell me, there are, from my point of view, two basic conceptions of artists, and especially of artists who paint abstract work. First, that they started with figuration, and then they abstracted it little by little until they came to a cleaner canvas, if we can say so. And the other one is drawing, not for abstract painters, but for any kind of artist who takes that initial idea and impulse and just translates it through a drawing. I've never seen any drawings of your works, and I wanted to ask you more about your artistic path. So, how did you come to concrete art? Was it a start for you, or was it something that you later discovered? And also the question about drawing, do you draw, and how do you take care of your initial impulses and inspiration?
Well, in life you need masters. I had the chance to learn all the painting techniques like oil, serigraphy and so in the studio of a famous Zurich artist, Jerko Denegri. And he taught me the different techniques, and but I started with classical studies. I mean, like copy of oil paintings or whatever. But afterwards, my life went parallel to my art, because somehow I started with yoga when I was 17, and less is more was one of the dominant thinking of my path. So simplifying a message, getting to the essential point of a message, this became my main motivation. But I did a lot of things. I mean, I made portraits, I made also well, a lot of paintings. But first started with abstraction. And then when I came back to Zurich in '94, I got in close contact with the concrete art. And when the more exhibitions I saw, the more works I saw in the concrete art, the more I had the feeling there's something missing. That's why I'm making post-concrete work, because missing the soul, like I told you before.
Okay, amazing. And regarding the drawing, do you do them? Did you do them for the last 20 years? So since you started post-concrete artworks, do you have a need to draw or to make sketches of different textures, or do you only work with painterly materials?
Well, actually, before I started painting, as my technique requires to know exactly the path you go. Technically, it's important because you have to make the first layer, the second layer, the third layer, the fourth layer, the fifth layer, whatever. So I sit in front of an empty canvas and then let the painting grow. And when I visualize the painting inside, then I know exactly which I will start, which technique to use, which material, and so. So the painting, before I touch a brush or whatever, is already inside finished.
Okay, okay, I understand. It starts as conceptual work, basically, because you have to envision it,
exactly
how you want it to look at the end,
yeah.
And then I guess it's trial and error process to get to this point when you can exactly materialize your idea with a number of layers to get the exact color that you want, to get the exact structure and texture also, which is very important.
Actually, I know this from the beginning on, because the thin layers I use in my technique, and also the surfaces which are not perfect, but close to be very, very good and stringent, it's impossible to change anything. When you started the course, you have to know exactly what you are going to do. It needs a lot of concentration. I listen when I paint, nobody is coming close to me. I listen to Zen music, and this helps me to have inner peace to make an artwork.
I also wanted to ask you, a couple of your paintings have very specific titles, such as Spiral Nebula or Zeitlos, the tackle with time and space also. So how do you come about naming your artworks? Is it during the process of painting, or is it after? Is it an association, or do you have some other way of coming to
Actually, it's a philosophical approach. I do every day, I do meditation. Every day I'm looking for dimensions, and time is a dimension, timeless is a dimension. Those are absolute dimensions. And that's why I don't want to make flashy art, short-living art. That's why many of my paintings are called timeless. And the collectors who have my paintings, they don't change the painting on the wall. They like it, they leave it, and it gives them inner peace also. So that's why you have a lot of timeless universe. These are all dimensions.
Okay. And also you added movement to your artworks when we look at the pendulum paintings that you did that have their own gravitational center and movement, real physical movement.
Exactly.
That was maybe one step further from the time and space.
The movement, not so far from space. It's an additional dimension. And somehow on the structure, I like the game between the pendulum and the shadow of the pendulum on the painting. So when it moves slightly, you have also changing optique.
Yes, for your paintings, lighting is a very important part because can you tell me more about the colors that you use? Are they organic or not? And you get very specific values, and even paintings that look monochromatic maybe when printed or when seen for a screen. When you see them in person, they have a very large variety of different hues. So that's a very, very interesting theme for me. That monochrome that is not a monochrome, but actually a commingration of very rich color values.
Right. Actually, for the color, mostly or often I use pure pigments. And I developed a technique where I can fix the pigments on canvas after a few layers. And there are not so many which can make paintings with pigments. When you touch the paintings, you don't have pigments on your finger. It took me more than 1 year to develop this technique. And I don't make multicolored paintings, actually, or very few colors, 1, 2, 3 colors maximum. Yeah, I think this is enough. Like here, I say less is more.
Okay, thank you very much. I think that's a note we can conclude this interview in. Less is more is one of the key phrases during which, and I think everybody who is listening to us have gotten a better knowledge about your work, and I hope everybody will get a chance to see the exhibition that is currently going on during March and the beginning of April 2023 at Arte Galerie Andrić Venac 12th Street, where we showcase works from different periods that you did from the last 2 decades. Thank you very much, Pierre.
If I may add, I'm very happy to have the opportunity to make an exhibition in Serbia, because I was many times in Serbia before. My catalogs were printed in Serbia, and you have in Serbia a sensitivity which I appreciate a lot. I mean, being an artist means something in Serbia. In many Western countries, the first question which occurs is, how do you earn your money? This is a big difference. I think the Serbian sensitivity for art is a great environment for me.
I'm very glad you like it here, and I hope we're going to have a successful exhibition with a lot of people who are going to discover your artworks, and I hope during the time that you're in Belgrade you're going to have a chance to communicate and hear their ideas and opinions about your artwork. Again, thank you very much.
With great pleasure, thank you.
Profesor Ješar, kako ste, da li možete da mi kažete nešto o konkretnoj umetnosti? Šta ona predstavlja, odakle dolazi i kako je mi danas posmatramo?
Pa dobro, to se zalazi u to osjetljivo pitanje terminologije, koja teorija i istorija umetnosti treba da obeleže i označe pojedine pravce, pojave umetnosti 20. veka. Tako da brojne umetničke prakse nose neke termine koji zahtevaju obrazloženje zašto su i na koji način imenovani. Recimo, velika pojava u modernoj umetnosti, umetnosti 20. veka je pojam apstraktna umetnost. Pojam apstraktna umetnost koja nastaje početkom 20. veka kod prakse velikih autora kao što su Kandinski, Mondrian, Maljević, i teorije koju su ti isti autori pisali, zahtevala je to obrazloženje. Pojam je podrazumevao odsustvo predstave, odsustvo figure, prizora, ali s druge strane pokazalo se da u praksama apstraktne umetnosti čuva izvesni trag predstave i u tom trenutku zahtevao se jedan novi termin koji bi mogao da obeleži umetnost koja gubi tu relaciju sa predmetom, sa prirodom, sa figurom i uveden je pojam konkretna umetnost. I odatle taj pojam konkretna umetnost se razlikuje suštinski od pojma apstraktna umetnost. Pojam apstraktna umetnost mogao je da ima razne modifikacije, recimo geometrijska apstrakcija, lirska apstrakcija i neki fenomeni koji su na taj način imenovani. Pojam konkretna umetnost odnosila se upravo na ove prakse koje su, ponavljam, bile lišene referenci prema prirodnom svetu. Ovaj fenomen kojemu mi danas prisustvujemo, ovoj izložbi, koliko sam razumeo samog autora, on ih naziva neokonkretna ili postkonkretna umetnost, da bi naglasio razliku u odnosu na pojam konkretna umetnost, koji bi u odnosu na ovaj pojam neo ili postkonkretna umetnost označilo aktuelnu ili savremenu umetničku praksu u odnosu na neku, da kažem, istorijsku umetničku praksu. U nekim drugim pojavama pojavili su se termini koji nisu identični konkretnoj umetnosti, ali su na neki način njemu slični. Naprimjer, pojavili su se termini kao što je primarno slikarstvo ili elementarno slikarstvo ili analitičko slikarstvo. koje je podrazumevalo slikarski proces koji se obavlja na površini platna bojom i nikada ne skreće u deskripciju ili u asocijaciju na predmetni svet i odatle primarno ili elementarno. To su fenomeni koji su javili negde 70-ih, 80-ih godina u kontekstu konceptualne umetnosti kad se postavilo pitanje kako principi konceptualne umetnosti mogu da se odnose na prakse koje se obavljaju klasičnim umjetničkim tehnikama kao što je slikarstvo. Koliko razumem ovu izložbu i ovog autora, obzirom da dolazi iz Švajcarske, rekao bih da se nastavlja na ideju konkretne umjetnosti koja je dubinski vezana za švajcarsku umjetničku kulturu, za taj pojam koji je uveden od strane Maxa Billa i drugih autora koji su zastupali tu vrstu umjetnosti, a odnosi se na to da ono što ovdje vidimo, to je to. Interesantno je da recimo odsustvuju boje koje bi mogle da nas uvedu na asocijaciju ka prirodi. Nema zelene, nema plave. Zelena bi mogla da nas asocira na prirodu, na plava, recimo na nebo ili na more. Nego je upotrebljena ta dva ekstrema, crna sa sivim ili bela, i onda se to nadovezuje i na one termine koji su uvedeni u historijskoj apstrakciji, recimo kod jednog velikog umetnika kao što je recimo Kazimir Maljević, koji ima čuvene slike belo na belom ili crno na crnom ili crni kvadrat na belom. Kada on upotrebi te termine, nama je jasno o čemu se radi. Ono što vidimo, to i ta slika znači. Ako se ona naziva crni kvadrat na belom, ona predstavlja crni kvadrat na belom. Naravno, kad se zna dubinski geneza i poreklo ideja jednog Kazimira Maljevića, mi možemo znati da su one vezane za neke metafizičke ideje, sublimne, simboličke, ali njegova praksa svela je sliku na ono što je elementarno viđeno, crni kvadrat na belom. Ovaj autor mislim da na neki način podrazumijeva sva ta historijska iskustva. Kod ovog autora ja bih rekao da se nastavlja na genezu, na ideje konkretne umjetnosti koja je vezana za sredinu iz koje on dolazi. Isto je interesantno da su glavninom to kvadratni formati. Ako bi format bio vertikalan ili ako bi format bio horizontalan, on bi mogao da pobuđuje izvesne asocijacije. Naprimjer, horizontalni format bi mogao da pobuđuje asocijaciju na predeo, vertikalni na ljudsku figuru. Ako je kvadrat, on se podrazumeva da je to jedna standardna površina koja prima naslagu boje i ništa više i ništa drugo od toga.
Ladies, gentlemen, your excellencies, it is my great honor to welcome you on behalf of Arte Gallery, Thalberg-Arte and the branch of Galerie Thalberg in Serbia, the Thalberg-Arte Gallery Belgrade. I would first like to thank you for taking your time to open the exhibition of the renowned Swiss artist Pierre Schwarzenbach tonight with us. And also I would like to extend my gratitude to the Swiss Embassy and the Swiss Cultural Fund of Serbia for helping us organize this exhibition and the following catalog. Without further ado, I would like to introduce Professor Jerko Denegri, the ex-curator of the Museum of Contemporary Art, who will share his thoughts about Pierre's work. Thank you.
Dobro večer svima, drago mi je da vas vidim na otvaranju ove velike i zanimljive izložbe. Posebno želim da pozdravim Pierra i da mu zaželim dobar boravak u Beogradu. Ovo je vrlo zanimljiva izložba sa teoretske i istorijsko-umetičke strane. Skreću vam pažnju, recimo na naslovnoj strani kataloga piše postkonkretna umetnost, ili što znači da za razumevanje ove vrsti slikarstva treba imati određeno teoretsko predznanje, istorijske uvide upravo u sredini iz koje Pierre dolazi. Taj pojam je ustanovljen u švajcarskoj umetnosti u odnosu na velike autore koji prethode toj generaciji kao što su Loze, Max Bill, Camille Greiser i ostali koji su formirali pojam konkretna umetnost. Generacija kojoj Pierre pripada unosi velike razlike, a istovremeno se i nastavlja na taj istorijski presedan. Tako da je u pitanju jedna tradicija švajcarske umetnosti koja ima evropsko značenje i ne ove pojave koje su unete nakon te istorijske pojave. S te strane treba odati priznanje Galerie-Arte što je bila u mogućnosti i da je donela u Beograd jednu ovako značajnu, zanimljivu, važnu izložbu i s jedne strane nadam se da će i Pierru biti veliko zadovoljstvo da imao prilike da ovo predstavi u našoj sredini.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear visitors from the embassies, I'm very honored that there are so many VIPs here this evening. So welcome to the exhibition. It's a pleasure for me to be here. I'm also very grateful to my friend Ivan because he is one of the art-loving gallerists, which is not always the case. Many galleries first think about their wallet and afterwards about art. And he's the opposite of it. That's why I'm very grateful to him to have the opportunity here. Second, I'm happy to exhibit in Belgrade because somehow I love the Slavic soul. Slavic soul is something which makes life more difficult often, but also richer, because it's high, it's down, it's up, it's tears, it's smiling, it's hate, it's love, well, anything which is characterizing human beings, which is strengths and weaknesses. So talking about my art, I don't like so much to talk about my art because actually either you feel or you don't feel. Some people like, some people don't like it. I try to make good quality art. Yes, this I can say. Influenced by, I talked to Japanese ambassador before he was here. I was very happy to have the Japanese ambassador in my exhibition because as he comes from Japanese culture, he understood immediately the message of my art. Immediately. He looked all the time again at this painting. He said, it's good painting, it's good painting. Why? Because it's a kind of Zen influence in my work. So, yes, concrete because less is more. And concrete because also simple forms can be metaphysically much more expressive than a wild story. So I try to bring peace through my art to the people, serenity. And the clients who have my works in their home tell me that somehow it calms them. They have a good feeling. It's no aggressivity. It's just openness to other dimension, to meditation, to whatever. So, now I think I talked a lot about my art. I prefer when other people talk about my art. It's much easier for an artist. My job is to try to make paintings with my emotions, with my feeling, with my technique. So thank you for coming, thank you for attending the exhibition, and I hope some of you will appreciate my work.